What's going on, y'all? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to Straight Talk, Lisa Straight Understanding. My name is Sean Bolden, Sean B. However you know me. And tonight we are going to have what's going on, what's going on, what's going on, what's going on. Buddha, 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 salute, happy birthday, Scody. What up, what up, what up, though? DPG in the house. Yo, what's going on, yo, Moscow? All right. It's a straight talk, y'all. Straight understanding. I'm gonna lead some. I'm gonna let y'all hear some things over here. I'm gonna let y'all see some things over here. But we're gonna be talking about some things, and I'm gonna keep it short today. All right. First off, we're gonna be talking about. I'm gonna show a video, and we're gonna be talking about the emotional maturity of this young lady in this video. And you know, I enjoy doing this for a lot of different reasons, but we're gonna start it off because I think it's necessary. So, what's up to everybody out here and live on Instagram? I hope y'all are well. What's going on, everybody here on Facebook, on YouTube, and yeah, we gonna do it. My name is Sean Bolden, Sean B. However you know me, Shiz. Some of y'all know me like that. And I just enjoy having conversations that will help broaden the perspectives of my mind, as well as maybe broaden the perspective of your minds by some of the things I can share. I like sharing things and hearing things. If y'all want to join me, come join me. But I also like expressing things and expressing the perspective that sometimes might be a little bit outlandish because, you know, that's kind of my personality at times, or it might just be right on point. If in fact you enjoy anything that I say, I ask you to share, I ask you to like, I ask you to comment, share, like, comment. Hold up, let's do that now. If you're on YouTube, I need you to share. If you're on Instagram, I need you to like. If you're on Facebook, I need you to comment, like, share, all of that right now. All right. So I do this every Thursday night. As you can see, it's called Straight Talk, Lisa Straight Understanding. Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And what I talk about, usually I have a guest and, you know, we just chop it up and we talk about some of the life things. But right now I don't have a guest, so I'm going to be playing a video and I'm going to be speaking about it. All right. So let me start with this video so that we don't have to lay it out long. I forget what the name of the show is, but Gooch is the person who posted it. He said he was checking her softly, but I think it's worthwhile. First off, before I go there, last week I spoke about integrity. The week before I posted a video about this industry and integrity, and Monique, speaking to Steve Harvey, was part of it. So I'm gonna start with that, right? I'm gonna start with that, right? And what I'm gonna do there is talk about how she, you know, because Monique has been a topic of conversation quite often, and I'm going to share how she pretty much was talking to Steve about not compromising your integrity, and a lot of people got on her and get on Monique for a lot of different reasons. And at this point, I don't want y'all to do this. So check out this video. I hope y'all can hear it over here. Y'all can hear it. Let me know. But listen up. This is what it is. Steve Harvey interviewing Monique a few years ago, and listen to what she had to say.
No, I did nothing wrong. Y'all know my husband did nothing wrong. But none of y'all in real time, was strong enough to go publicly and say, we can't throw our sister under the bus. All of y'all said privately, I've done nothing wrong.
When you tell the truth, you have to deal with the repercussions of the truth. We black out here. We can't come out here and do it any kind of way we want to. Listen, the money game. This ain't the black man's game. This ain't the white man's game. This is the money game. We in the money game. And you cannot sacrifice yourself. The best thing you can do for poor people is not be one of them. You cannot help them.
We're in the money game, but let me tell you what the game is before the money game. Before the money game, it's called the integrity game. And we've lost the integrity worrying about the money.
But Mo,
wait a minute.
If I crumble, my children crumble, my grandchildren crumble. I cannot, for the sake of my integrity, stand up here and let everybody that's counting on me crumble so I can make a statement.
No, I didn't. No, I did not.
Now, I want y'all to really evaluate that and let me know your feelings about it. Me personally, I think that I side with Monique in this. All right. I side with Monique simply because there is a such thing as compromising your integrity. And I think that Steve Harvey displays that he don't mind compromising his integrity for nothing. As long as there's some money involved, he don't mind doing it. To each his own. I ain't here to judge Steve. I ain't really a fan of that part of Steve, but you know, his entertainment, I enjoy some of it, but his lifestyle and some of the choices he make, he basically encourages you to lie. You know, he does it in his books and relationships, Think Like a Man. He does it on screen. He does it often in his talk show. On his radio show. Like I said, I am a fan of his entertainment, so I listen to a lot of Steve what he says. But he also is just not one of what I stand for principally. You know, so I'm just sharing with y'all what I'm saying. And what Nick just pointed out to him. I did a whole video. If y'all missed it, check out the video. It was a straight talk about 2 weeks ago. And Damon Wilson was talking about Bend Over Billies. That's what it was called. Bend Over Billies. And he was talking about Bend Over Billies, which means people who bent over to I guess compromise their sexuality in order to have success. And Steve is no different. He might not have compromised his sexuality, but he compromised his integrity, which they go hand in hand. If you're going to compromise your integrity, it's just as bad as compromising your sexuality. To me. But I ain't the judge of it all. But once again, that's what I was speaking about. And that was a clip that I shared. So before I went into this first clip that I was going to share for this week, I wanted to kind of recap about a couple of weeks ago. For y'all who didn't see it or hear it, I'm going to play it one more time before I leave. And y'all give me your choice. Was Steve correct or was Steve incorrect in his position on this? Y'all let me know, all right?
Wrong. Y'all know my husband did nothing wrong, but none of y'all in real time was strong enough to go publicly and say we can't throw our sister under the bus. All of y'all said privately, I've done nothing wrong.
When you tell the truth, you have to deal with the repercussions of the truth. We black out here.
Steve said, when you tell the truth, you got to deal with the repercussions of the truth. We black out here. Man, Steve, really?
We can't come out here and do it any kind of way we want to. Listen, the money game. This ain't the black man's game. This ain't the white man's game.
And if you're playing the money game, he's absolutely right. I just don't like playing the money game. I could get the money, but I don't like playing that game. It's a bullshit game, bullcrap game for those who are my Christian brothers and sisters and religious brothers and sisters. It's a bullcrap game, but he liked playing it, and to each his own. I just can't play it.
This is the money game. But we in the money game. And you cannot sacrifice yourself. The best thing you can do for poor people is not be one of them. You cannot help them.
We're in the money game, but let me tell you what the game is before the money game. Before the money game, it's called the integrity game. And we've lost the integrity worrying about the money.
But Mo,
wait a minute.
If I crumble.
She said, before the money game, it's the integrity game. And we lost the integrity game worried about the money. I happen to agree with that. A lot of people do not agree with that. And it's very popular to follow the money. This is why we have so many issues in our community right now. All this stuff on Instagram and all that. This is why we're faced with it, because people have dismissed the whole integrity game and they just playing the money game. Which, again, to each his own. I just can't do that. I'm gonna let somebody on me. Buddha, you come on in. But we're going to continue this.
If my children crumble, my grandchildren crumble, I cannot, for the sake of my integrity, stand up here and let everybody that's counting on me crumble so I can make a statement.
No, I didn't. No, I did nothing.
Yeah, what up, Buddha? What up? I'm good. So, yeah, I'm over here looking at this right now. And you heard what I heard, right? All right. But yeah, tell me your thoughts on it, because I know. Well, I don't want to tell people what I know. You tell me your thoughts on it, bro. I got Buddha by the way here. Hold on, Buddha. I'm sorry. I'm introducing you to Facebook folks and YouTube folks that ain't watching my Instagram. I got Buddha over here, renowned producer, father, man of integrity. And in case y'all don't know him by his name, Mr. Monroe, he is also one of the co-producers of Put Your Hands Where Your Eyes Can See by Busta Rhymes. Everybody, give it up for Buddha. Go ahead, brother.
Like on some real. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. You have everybody else on. You never have me on. I sound like Little Rich right now.
Man, hey, you asked to join, and where are you? I'd have no discrepancies. I love to have people up here. And before we go on, and I know you want to go on, I want to say happy belated birthday to you. February 16th was my brother's birthday. So happy belated birthday. Usually I call. I know I didn't this year, so I hope this serves as as an alternate by being able to share happy birthday to you here.
Well, first and foremost, you know how we get down, so it doesn't even even if I don't speak to you for 10 years, when we do pick up, it's like we was talking just yesterday anyways.
Absolutely.
That's never an issue. I'm not even worried about that. But yeah, man, integrity is something that's lacking in a lot of people's repertoire. They don't seem to pack that with them. They pack their suitcase these days. Like their goal is to do what's going to be acceptable to the masses. And or what they think is the masses, or whoever's going to put something in their pocket as opposed to reality. And the key to integrity is really doing the right thing when nobody's looking. You know what I mean?
True that.
That's the real thing. And I was never a fan of what he said, man. I do respect the man for being able to get his money, whatever the case may be. But at the same time, he's making enough money that he should be able to state his opinions, especially when you have people following you and listening to you, you writing books and all that stuff. If you start contradicting yourself like that, that's kind of crazy to me. You're not going to tell your child not to lie to you. Or, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to tell your child to lie to you, because what they got to deal with, because you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going to tell your child, hey, look, tell me the truth regardless. I will deal with that.
But in fairness, boy, I don't know if that applies to Steve, because Lori out here acting crazy. Lori be doing what she want. So he might tell his children that.
I hope he's not telling his children not to tell the truth, because if that's the case, then I got to reevaluate how I really look at this man. Like, I mean, that statement alone that he made to me was something that had me feel like, he dropped a couple notches in my. I think it matters to him. He probably don't give a damn what I think, but at the same time, integrity is, you don't have very many names, man. You have your name, you got your word, and your word is part of your integrity. If you're going to tell me something just because it's going to bring you money, that doesn't tell me how you really feel about me or what you really think of me. You know what I mean? That's just telling me that you're just going to say whatever's bringing you the biggest check.
Absolutely.
At that point, like, I you know how we move, man. We move in small circles. We know a lot of people, but when it comes to people that we call people, it's that denomination is not very huge. It's not really big. It's like, you know what I mean? I can count on my digits how many people I call family. You feel me?
Yes, sir.
The reality is, it's like, you have your platform and you work on to get your platform. But a lot of people, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, let me say this. You mentioned something. You work hard, and I don't want to discredit how hard the man works. He working 8 jobs, 8,000 jobs. So I give that to him. But the point is, when somebody cheats, which lying to me is pretty much cheating. It's like if you won a championship and have a renowned record of winning the championship, but it was because you cheated, it kind of tarnishes it significantly, or at least a bit. In my opinion. Yeah.
The thing is, man, when you have a show like he has, and he has multiple shows, right? When you have shows like he has, the goal is people tune into to subscribe to your theories and what you're talking about, and your views on.
I hope y'all can hear me over here.
And the message that you're sending as a grown man to other grown men, to kids, to just people in general, is lopsided when you start saying that, I can't tell the truth because of the money that I'm making. My mom always tell me, like, look, if you ain't got nothing good to say, don't say nothing.
That's true.
The to just say something to appease, because at the end of the day, I gotta live with what I say and what I think.
That's true.
People question that and talk to me about, like, come on, man.
Well, the funny thing is, in my live where I actually covered this a couple of weeks ago, I did a video. There was another part of a clip that I added to it, which was him saying, him doing a comedy stand-up where he's like, man, I be the monkey, I be all the monkey that they could be, I be the best monkey. All they gotta do is give me $4 million, never mind 10. I be the most monkeyest monkey. My black people would be embarrassed by me. And that's exactly what it is. And to each his own. I ain't trying to again judge, but at the same time, I'm definitely placing judgment on how I feel. And my feeling is that I'd rather be a man. I'd rather be myself than be the monkey for somebody just for a few $1 million. I feel I can get that millions a couple of other ways.
Well, I 100% subscribe to that. Now, this is what I will say. The man said what he said, heard what he said, and we know what he is now. The reality of it is, when you know what something is, it's much easier to deal with that than to not know. So we know what he is right now.
True that.
We know what his philosophy is. So now it's on us whether we decide that we want to continue to support that.
Now here's the spoiler alert. A lot of people support that. A lot of people have the mentality of money by any means necessary. And it's an unfortunate reality. I would love to say that a lot of people are changing and we're proud. A lot of people speak this proud boss stuff and I'm the man, but they have that mentality that and what they did to be that man or woman is really something that they're not as proud of as proudly as they're speaking about their accolades and achievements, similar to what Steve just did. He's proud of his accolades and achievements, but when it comes to
that same money you're talking about becomes a chain or bondage in itself, because now you are back to that philosophy, and you can't even really be 100% yourself when you're talking. So, like, the reality is, how do people even take in what you're saying when they know that you're just saying it for the money?
Well, a lot of people don't mind. If you think about it, a lot of people are listening to music that they don't really agree with, or that they're just subjected to. A lot of people are looking at different shows and politicians, following different politicians, simply because it's leaning them in a direction that they feel they can get something from that or get something out of it. I think the most important thing is that I think you would agree with this. When you don't have a worry or anything to lose, you're probably the most balanced person. Problem is, people don't like those type of balanced people who are in power.
But the thing is, everybody always has something to lose. You always have something to lose. Like, I mean, even if it's the real thing is how much you value what it is that you're gonna actually lose. You know what I mean? Like I know our relationship, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to do anything to tarnish that relationship for some money,
right?
Because there's a million ways to make money,
right?
And I'm not going to say that there's any such thing as enough money, right?
Right.
Because you could always use some more money. So somebody can come up to you and say, hey, let me get some spare change, or let me hold something you're not used. That makes sense, right?
Right.
But at the same time, I find myself being able to sleep at night. Being able to I don't have to look over my shoulder and say, how many people did I do wrong or disrespect or worry about it? This is a small world, bro. It's a small world. Even before I met you, I knew people that knew you for a very long time.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how much you was on with Nicky up there, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Nicky used to come to the crib when me and Mello used to have the crib, and what's her name? You know what I mean? She probably don't even remember.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then, right, you was on with her, she was on with Hakeem.
Uh-huh.
small world.
Yep.
So if I say something to Nikki or to you, disrespecting Hakeem, that's gonna go back to them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. It's
integrity. I gotta be the best me that I can be. Period.
right.
You know, it's just you can be you a lot longer than you can be anybody else. Right?
True that.
At the end of the day, the truth is gonna come out about who you are, and the truth is coming out about who he is.
Right. And the funny thing is, I don't think he really cares, because what he values, to your point earlier, is his money. And I can respect that. Even though I don't agree, or I don't feel like I would go down that path, I could respect if you committed down that path and you made it down that path successfully. Who am I to judge you? Yo, this was what you wanted to do. You actually accomplished doing it. So all I am here to do is praise you for that. You know, I'm not sitting here worried about how you got there, because that's your choice on how you get there. But that was your choice of where you wanted to get, and that was your sacrifice of how you got to get there. Then to each his own.
Everything that he's been able to achieve, right? Now there's varying stories on how he achieved a lot of stuff that he achieved. You
right.
know what I mean? I was there. All I do is this person said that, this person said that. I can just see what I believe I what I heard.
True that.
It's really none of my business, but everybody formulates their own opinion on who they want to deal with and how they want to deal with that person.
Right.
Right? It's a very, very small world, and your words have so much power. Words have more power than almost anything you could possibly do, because what you say to somebody, you can't really take that back.
Absolutely.
You can't, especially in this day and age of social media, the way it is. You can't say something here and then be like, that's not what I meant. You can say that's not what you meant, but at the end of the day, every time somebody hears that clip, that's what you said.
Absolutely.
So what is it? Like, you have to really be able to think before you speak. I would like to think that there was a better way he could have said what he said.
Uh-huh.
I would like to think that, but at the end of the day, the bottom line is that's what he believes. So that's on him. Like I don't know the man. I've never worked with the man. But there's I got people that I know that think like that.
I do too. You know, both do. Being in this industry, it's hard not to. You know, a lot of people that I know to get to where they are, and people be looking at me, and I ain't trying to look like a hater, be a hater, or even project that. But the point is that I just don't agree with some of the ways that they got there. Now that's how it's their own decision to get there the way that they got there. It's my decision to not agree with it. And while I can respect what I don't agree with, that's where it stands. I can understand. Yeah, you went that out. Cool. You compromise your integrity. Cool. To each his own. Am I going to compromise integrity? Does money mean that much to me? No, it doesn't. Call it my pride. Call it what you want.
Well, the crazy thing, Sean, is that the real question is, do you even have integrity? Integrity's not something everybody has.
That, my brother, is a very good point. I didn't even think about it from that standpoint. But that, my brother, and ladies and gentlemen, everybody doesn't have integrity. That's the word for today. Everybody doesn't have integrity. Brett once told me that, Buddha, and he said it this way. He said, yo, Sean, you are trying to introduce and give integrity to people in places where integrity just don't exist.
Exactly what I'm saying. Like, it's just like common sense. Everybody ain't got that either.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And our biggest problem as people is that we expect everybody to think the way we think. And you're not always going to get that. I got a lot of friends that they get in the car and they drive and stuff, and
Curse.
when they're driving, something might happen and they catch a little instance of road rage
Mm-hmm.
and start getting mad at the person that might have cut them off or might did something. And I'm like, like my wife always gets on my case. It's like, when I'm driving, I'm like, yeah, I might get for a quick second, but then I'm like, yeah, let it go, because I can't waste my mental on somebody that's doing what they do because that's what they do. They might not think they did something wrong. They might not even care that they did something wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I let it burn a hole in my spirit, then at the end of the day, who's it hurting more? Me or them?
True that.
Me, because they don't even care what I think.
Right. They don't care about it. They don't know about it. It's festering and you burning your heart through. I agree wholeheartedly. I have a bad habit, maybe, of caring sometimes too much. I love hard. And so when it comes to that, I'm passionate and I'm compassionate for things that I do feel near and dear to, whether it be people or whether it be principles, things of that nature. And it sometimes bites me. It bites me very hard. But I still wouldn't change, because what I have changed is not letting the bite affect me as badly as it might have before. The way I want to react, the way I'm reacting in different ways, it's anger and bitterness, things of that. I've matured out of that. As far as getting bit, and I'm just at the point where I use this analogy. I'm jumping into the water knowing that there's sharks. So now when I get bit, I'm expecting, because there's sharks. As long as I can survive the bite and continue to swim is what matters to me now. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to get across the ocean, and I'm getting bit, but I just still want to get across the ocean to be able to walk on sand again.
He said, whatever you do, never let somebody else make you assassinate your own character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that holds very, very true, because at the end of the day, no matter what somebody does, you got to be the best you. You got to do you the way you do you. Because if you try to do what everybody's expecting of you or thinks of you, then it becomes a situation where you're putting something forward that's not really useful. With that being said, if that's the way man thinks and that's what he's saying, then
Absolutely.
That's not the way I think. I know that's not the way you think.
Not at all.
And God bless the dead. That's definitely not the way Melo is.
Yeah, and rest in peace to Shamelo Durant. In case y'all don't know, that's the other half of the producers. Buddha's one half, and Melo is the other half of the producers who produced not only Put Your Hands Where Y'all Can See, but they did quite a few things with BBD and PD Pablo and so on. So they're well-renowned producers. We lost Melo a few years ago, and definitely a hard blow. But just want to send a shout out to Melo Durant, Daryl Melo Durant.
Spidey just joined. That's another dude that has a lot of integrity. Right?
Absolutely.
We keep integrity around us. So therefore, when we hear something like what we're talking about right now, that's a problem for us, because we are not like that.
Absolutely.
But again, you can't walk through life expecting everybody to be like you or be the way that you are.
Absolutely.
You have to be prepared. Come on, when you grow up in New York, Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx, Manhattan, Long Island, you have a certain way about you that to survive that environment. You know what I mean? And some people have integrity, some people don't. And you have to recognize quickly what you're dealing with.
Absolutely.
The recognition of people and their character. Like what they say, somebody shows you who they are the first time, believe them.
Absolutely.
It's really that simple.
Now it really is, and I'm going to say this on a couple of things. One, people do change, and we have to give grace and opportunity for that. One. Two, you made mention of the integrity that we have, and I want to say to that point, I tell ladies all the time, you know, who ask me, well, where are the good men? And one of the things is I don't really know where they are, quite frankly. You know, so I don't make no excuses for that. But I want to say this. Most of the good men that I know, and you just mentioned Spidey, and I will say yourself, men of integrity, men that I can respect, are in relationships, married or in a relationship. And that's the reason why, ladies, I can't always extend or you know, hook somebody up or answer that question where the good men are. And it's a shame because on my two hands, I probably can't count that many people who are single and who have integrity. And it's an unfortunate reality because I'm sitting here like, man, when a woman asks me that, yo, do you have any friends that I'm kind of stuck? I'm really stuck because I got a lot of single friends, but not that I would probably hook you up with them.
What I'm gonna say to that part is this, man. As far as we are the good men and all that stuff, like the reality is this, you know, sometimes we have to do a self-analysis and see why those things aren't coming our way, whether it be a good man or a good woman. You know what I mean? I have a good woman. I love my wife to death. You know what I mean? And I had to do a self-analysis going into my relationship with my wife because I was doing the definition of insanity prior to that. I was dating the same type of woman over and over, expecting a different result, and I was getting the same result. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
When I made the switch to stop, you know, I guess I don't want to call it. It's not more. I was about to say materialistic. It wasn't materialistic. It was more superficial.
Superficial.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I made the switch, my life changed. You know what I mean? But that was me having to do a self-evaluation to figure out, like, you know, well, what is it about me, or what choices am I making that's leading me down that road? You know, I'm not going to say that there are women that haven't been, you know, disrespected or whatever the case may be, because I'm sure it exists. But it exists the same way on both sides. You know,
absolutely.
People look at things from their perspective, and your perspective is the really only true perspective that you really have to go by, because that's your perspective. That's what you go through every day. But the reality is, you know, everybody else has a backstory. Every person you meet has a history, has a past, has something they've been through, so a reason why they do the things that they do. And if you don't take the time to know that person or get to know that person, sometimes you can't figure out those things. Or if you know, and when I say take the time, like a lot of people rush into relationships. A lot of people, you know, they're looking for the relationship as opposed to having the relationship find them. You know?
Absolutely.
That could be a problem.
Well, you know what's interesting about that, I just finished sending this out to for the ladies that I love. What happens often is that people don't take the time to heal from their unhealed past relationship. Reason being, well, there's a lot of reasons, but one of the biggest reasons is because they want somebody to comfort them during that healing. But a lot of the time, in order to really heal, you need to be able to look at yourself and live with yourself and understand what hurts yourself. And a lot of people don't take the time to do so. And it's an unfortunate, and that's both men and women. You know, I'm getting over it. I'm going to the next one. They say, how's that? The easiest way to get over a breakup is find somebody new. That's the worst damn advice you can ever give somebody if you're truly looking for a relationship. Now, if you're looking to just feel better, to feel good, then hey, whatever. Let's be clear on that. Let's not deceive it and disguise it with this mask of I'm good, which a lot of people do. they put on this mask of I'm good, when in fact they really didn't get through or get over, one, what happened to them, two, what they might have done to allow that to happen to them, and three, whether or not they're harboring the pain and the resentment and the bitterness and moving forward, or whether they're still holding on to that hardened heart.
Again, that goes right back to self-evaluation.
Absolutely.
Right? A lot of, you a businessman, and I people that know me, they've heard me say this a million times, but I like to equate SWOT analysis to everything. You know what I'm saying? Your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. Because to be honest with you, if you don't know what you're good at, you can't know what you're bringing to the table. If you don't know what you're bad at, you can't know what you have to work on. If you don't know what opportunities you have, you don't know where you can reach out when you have that time of need. And if you don't know what is your situation, you don't know, what you need to cut off or get rid of so that you can move forward.
True.
You know what I mean? So those things are very, very important when it comes to any type of situation, any type of relationship, any type of business, anything.
True.
But it starts with acknowledging you and the things that may be wrong with you.
Right.
Bro, when I tell you I'm not perfect, I know I'm not perfect. I'm probably sometimes as imperfect as you can get, but the thing is, I don't look at myself like I am perfect. I don't, and I have to do a lot of self-evaluation. Marriage is work. Relationships is work.
I want you to pause there, and I mean to interrupt you and cut off your thought, but that's a very critical piece of information that a lot of people seem to let go over their head and don't want to acknowledge. You're right. Any relationship, marriage, or relationship is work. And the funny thing is, a lot of people want it, but they don't want to put in the work. But meanwhile, they'll put in the work for a job. They'll put in the work for a whole lot of other things. But when it comes to a relationship, they are afraid to put in the work. And I think that fear comes because the vulnerability that comes while you're putting in that work is really vulnerability. The vulnerability that comes along with you opening up and putting in that work is very significant. And I understand that. It's crucial. It's crucial.
Because in order to be completely happy, you have to at some point allow yourself to be vulnerable.
Right.
And if you have a lot of baggage that's going on with you, then you're not truly allowing yourself that vulnerability. You're putting yourself in a position to, allow the same things to happen to you over and over again because you're not acknowledging the fault slot.
Absolutely.
Again, I will always start with me because, again, I'm not perfect. Please, I promise you, if I tell you 10 faults that I have, my wife would probably tell you 2. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just being honest with you.
Well, the good thing is, I agree, and to me, you are perfect. Let me say this. Tell you why. Because to me, a perfect person is understanding that they're not perfect and understanding that they'll never be. And also relying on or trusting someone like a wife or significant other to be able to help them identify the other 10 imperfections that you don't see. Because it's for your wife to be able to tell you, she's, how they say, got your back. Well, guess what? If there were no mirrors, who would be able to tell you what actually your back looked like? Only somebody you can trust.
The crazy part about it is, I'm glad you used the word mirror, right? Because you look at yourself in the mirror every day, right? You get up, brush your teeth in the mirror. You shower in the mirror. You see yourself all the time. But what you don't see is the change because you're seeing yourself so often.
Well, you know what's interesting? I'm sorry, because I kind of tend to push back on that a little. you actually don't see yourself that often. You only see yourself that morning. Your significant other is looking at you more than you're looking at yourself.
What I'm saying is, like, you see yourself, and like that's really the only time you see yourself is with a mirror.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
True.
And you know, like, so when you see yourself, like, I had a few years back, I gained so much weight, but I didn't even realize it until Matt took pictures of me on my birthday.
Uh-huh.
And when he took those pictures, I was like, holy shit, who is this fat? I was like, who is this dude? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had to self-evaluate and look at myself like, yo, is this what everybody else is seeing when I'm not seeing myself? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, your point is valid, but I just want to bring the point up that, you know, somebody asked me, how you gonna know me better than I know myself? And my answer was, because I actually look at you more than you look at yourself.
No, that's a fact. And I'm not saying that you see yourself more than anybody else sees you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just talking about when you see yourself.
I know, I get it. I understand your point. That's why I said very valid point. And what the point that I was making is opposite you, is not the point, you know, it doesn't discredit or negate your point. So it's not a pushback like I originally thought. It's not a pushback. It's really because your point is valid, as well as the point that I'm making as well, that a lot of us don't really look at, is that we don't really look at ourselves as much as we think.
Not only that though, watch this. When we see ourselves, a lot of times we don't necessarily want to admit what we see.
Yeah, we don't evaluate ourselves. We just like, oh yeah, you know what it is. You know what it is? We look at the spots that we know look good. So if our teeth look good, we look at, yeah, and we ain't looking at our eyes, the bags under our eyes. We looking at them teeth and like, you still got it. Look at that smile.
Exactly, like I say all the time, like, you know, the hardest person in the world to give advice to is yourself. Right?
Yeah.
Because you can sit there and show you do the straight talk, you know, needs to straight understanding all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, I truly believe that a lot of the reason that you do this is so that you can actually hear what you're saying and take that information in for yourself as well, because that's the best time to give yourself advice is when you're talking to somebody else. Giving somebody else advice. You're not listening to what you're saying. You're gonna miss out on the blessings that you actually get.
Woo!
We tend to give so much knowledge, right? But the question is, are you listening to yourself when you're saying it? And if you're not listening to yourself, you're gonna miss all the jewels that you get from everybody else. Everybody benefits from everything you're saying except for you.
You know what's interesting about that? You hit the nail on the head. The reason why I started Straight Talk is because I was having some conversations, personal conversations offline. And during those conversations, I would hear some things that I said, and I'd be like, man, I wish I was recording that. Man, because they'll share with me, well, thank you, that might have helped. But I'm like, man, it didn't only help you, it helped me too. I don't even know where it came from, but man, I need to take my own advice, type of thing. So
exactly what I'm saying. Exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And more people need to do that. Like, I mean, you can sit there and you can diagnose everybody else's issue, but when it comes to you, you don't even. And you know why you can't do it with yourself? Because the easiest person to talk out of something is you. Living with you. Right? So
Yeah.
you can sit there and say, man, I don't need to eat that extra slice of pizza. But then you find a way to talk yourself, man, but I'm hungry, so I'm gonna eat that. I'll just do something else tomorrow or something. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You talk yourself right out of the reasoning that you would give somebody else not to do it. You talk yourself out of it. And when you in your own head,
this is true.
It takes a whole different type of dedication and willpower to do things like that, to be on the straight up and up of yourself.
True that.
It takes a lot.
True that. And you just mentioned something that is the most critical thing about evaluating yourself, because evaluating yourself only works when you're being honest about the evaluation. When you're able to receive and embrace the evaluation. And that I have learned in a lot of different circumstances is problematic at times because people don't really embrace the evaluation of themselves, because what they see is not what they want to see. What they see is not what they are proud to see. And so that shame and guilt kind of kicks in, and it really discourages any change that could happen because they don't even recognize, want to recognize that there's something that needs change. And when we're evaluating ourselves, we're guilty of that more often than not. My mother on Facebook.
You just said key word right there. Well, shout out to my brother Jay Pro, my partner in the Goodfellas music. He just chimed in.
What up, Jay? And my mother's over here on Facebook. She made a comment I'll read to you in a second. So shout out, moms.
But the key thing that you just said is not that you don't notice it, you don't want to notice it. Like, well, a lot of times, the things that are most wrong with you, you don't want them to be wrong with you. So therefore, when it comes time to admit it, you say, man, you know, that ain't true. Man, it's 9 times out of 10, it's probably more true than you even know. Like, I know I have faults, my dude. Like, I know I have faults, and I'm a work in progress every single day. Like, I work on myself. Like, I really do, man, because if you don't, it's very easy to fall into habits, bad habits, old habits. It's very easy to fall into all of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know, if more people did better self-evaluation, they find out that they can be better friends to other people. Because again, like Big said, you can't change the world till you change yourself.
True that. You know I mean? True that.
You gotta work on you before you can work on anybody else.
True that.
If you're not working on you, how the hell are you gonna tell me what I should do?
True that. And you know what's interesting? Like you said earlier, and I have a tendency, because I have these conversations offline as well as online, I'm more than evaluating myself at times. I probably am almost addicted to evaluating myself, and it's a horrible. I don't know if I like it because I sometimes don't like it. What I see.
Well, you know what though? This is what I want to say, right? Self-evaluation has to be justice. You gotta be, you gotta do yourself justice when you're doing it, because the reality is there are people that evaluate themselves and don't see, you know, the bad parts, and then there's people that evaluate themselves and don't see the good parts. Like you can't look at yourself and just look at the flaws. You can't look at yourself and just look at the good. It has to be on both sides. You have to look at the whole picture. You gotta, you know what I mean? Like, people sit there and they get mad when it's raining outside. Oh, it's a nasty day. But you don't even think about all the days that was nice.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, like you can't appreciate a sunny day unless it rains sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yes. It's they call it being cynical. And you know, when you're cynical, a lot of people don't realize how cynical this world is and how cynical many of us individuals are. And you know, the cynicism is just basically when you lean more towards the negative, like you say, you lean more towards the rainy days as opposed to you have 350 rainy days. 350 sunny days and 15 rainy days. And you will harbor on that 15 rainy days and how gloomy it was and how horrible the rain was, as opposed to putting any energy or focus onto those 350 days of sunshine. And
I'll give you a real easy example real quick.
Go ahead.
How you feeling? You feeling good?
Yes, sir.
How you breathing? You breathing good?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Right. But see, you probably don't even appreciate it. You're breathing out of both nostrils. But let me know when you can only breathe out of one. My nose is, you know what I'm saying? But you gotta appreciate it when you're breathing good.
True that.
You know what I mean? Like real simple shit.
Yeah.
Real simple shit. You know what I mean? Like, we have to appreciate the good things when they happen.
Yeah.
And you know, as people, we tend to allow one negative.
I'll give you an example. You can't hear you. You must have got a phone call. You're back in. You're back in. You.
Real quick, like you have to take in every aspect of what you are and appreciate you for who you are. So that how do you expect somebody else to appreciate you when you can't even appreciate yourself?
Yeah.
How do you expect somebody to respect you when you don't respect yourself?
I agree.
You know, you can't do it.
In fairness, part of the issue is that people don't realize or recognize when they don't respect themselves. They subconsciously don't have the value about themselves that probably is deserving. And it leads to self-sabotaging. It's kind of like having low self-esteem. And I feel like women often have, when they were younger, low self-esteem issues. Like we had fear issues. We were taught to not be afraid. Like women were taught to not be ugly. So because of that, we overemphasize trying to be in a position of feeling pretty or feeling fearless. And when we overcompensate, yes. And when we overcompensate those things, we don't even recognize that not having those things is our self-esteem being low, or our courage being questioned, or our masculinity being questioned. And so we don't always tend to be able to cure or resolve it as being an issue, because we don't see it as being an issue, because we've been told all the time, this is what we got to do. This is what we got to do. So we have a lot of grown women with low self-esteem still, because they never resolved it. And we have a bunch of grown men who are having courage and fear issues because they want to be so brave, not realizing how detrimental they're doing. I said it this way earlier today. You might appreciate this. I said, I usually use this example. Women have pride that torment them, and men have egos that torment them. Now, we both have pride and ego, but the reason why I say pride masks humility, ego masks fear.
And when you have those problems, what do? Overcompensate.
Overcompensate. Absolutely.
So, again, that goes all the way back to evaluating and understanding you, right? I can't expect somebody else to know how to treat me if I don't know how I need to be treated.
And you're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But here's something that I want to add to that. Because we do sometimes we overcompensating evaluating ourselves, because we can't evaluate ourselves often as good as if we had somebody giving us help in that evaluation, honest, genuine help. The reason why I say that is we just look at the logistics of the mirror example that we was given today. You can only see but so much, even if you have a mirror. You would need two mirrors to see behind you. And that person who I'm talking about can aid you. If you're only evaluating yourself through a mirror, for example, you're not going to get a full understanding or full ability to, right. So I would say while you're evaluating yourself, you need to also have somebody who can be trusted to balance to that evaluation by being able to tell you, for the example I'm using, what's behind your head, or what it looks like on your back, or what it looks like on your head, because you can't see those things even when you got a mirror.
But let's take it a step further though. You have to have enough self-knowledge to be able to accept what they tell you. They can tell you whatever they tell you. If you sit there and you're not confident in yourself to sit there and be able to
receive the criticism,
to receive it, right? If you're not able to receive it and be able to, evaluate it and process it.
Process.
If you're not able to process it, then what they're telling you doesn't even matter because you're not hearing anything.
Right. Well, actually, let me say you are hearing. You're just not listening. There you go. Because you're hearing it all. You're hearing it all, but you're not listening. And to your point, that lends to why we need to be able to trust one another. And I think that's what's missing in a lot of our in our community specifically, is being able to trust one another or being able to find somebody who you can trust.
Well, it's the thing too, though. So the reality is, some of us have caused people to not trust us. Some of us have done things to make people not trust us. You understand what I'm saying? And you can't get mad at somebody when they don't trust you.
True that, but here's the thing. You're right. But if they don't trust you, and let's just say they had a change of heart, and you have to be able to give them the grace to forgive them and trust them again. And a lot of times we struggle with that. We struggle with, when we've been disappointed, to trust to give a person another chance. And the only way I get through it is by recognizing how many chances I needed when I might have messed up or messed up somebody or hurt somebody or struggle with somebody. So when I remind myself of that, I have a little bit more grace in being able to trust somebody who disappointed me or trust somebody who broke my trust.
But see, now you got to realize, you got to think about it from this standpoint too, because if you have that trust from somebody, that means that they have allowed themselves to be vulnerable, right?
True.
And once you break that trust, now you have to get them to be willing to be vulnerable all over again, and that's a hard thing to make for them to be able to do.
I agree. But who problems is that? Who issue is that become? The person who is trying to reestablish the trust, or the person who is blocking it because they're afraid of being vulnerable?
Well, it's both, because you have, as the person who actually did what you did or didn't do what you were supposed to do or whatever the case may be, you now have to work to regain that trust, right? And you have to be patient in allowing that trust to rehappen, right? So that's a problem in itself. Now, for the other person, they have to be able to get to the point where they can trust again, right? And the only person that they're hurting while they're not trusting is themselves.
Absolutely. But that and we're making the same point, and I agree wholeheartedly. And it's an unfortunate cycle that we go through in trying to establish good relationships with one another. And I say that not just in romantic relationships, but in life relationships. We as Black people, I think our community have a lot of issues with trusting in general, because we've had so many different circumstances that have been disappointing. And trust and believe that we've been on for about an hour, so we're gonna cut it short. But the point is that, yeah, we need to reestablish and build our trust, and be able to learn how to not have a hardened heart or harbor resentment when we get hurt.
Yeah. It's difficult, but at the end of the day, the reality is we have to do our best to have as much integrity as possible, so that we don't hurt, so we don't have to be retrusted, right? And we have to have the ability to evaluate ourselves, to understand, ourselves enough to be able to trust.
All right.
So it's work on both sides.
And you go back to the point of why I sometimes miss out or don't want to invest into a relationship, because I understand the work that it takes to invest into a relationship. And sometimes it's really one-sided when it comes to me, because I'm putting in Kobe Bryant effort, and my teammate is putting in the person on a playground effort. Talking about they right. They talking about yeah, I want to be on the team. I want to be a star. I want to be in the NBA, but yet don't want to go to practice. Don't want to put in the work necessary to do so. And unfortunately, we're seeing signs of this in different ways. And this is what I have against BBLs. It's an easy way with no work.
It's not real.
Right.
It's not real.
And the same thing that I have with drug dealers who it's an easy way for that fast money. So it's not just, and it disguises. You get all of the cars and things that you get material wise are equivalent to me for a man as a BBL is for a woman. When you just get things to make you feel better and look better.
Well, the crazy thing about it is, I'm not even a fan of BBLs, right?
Nor am I.
If you want to really look at BBLs, the best BBLs are the ones that you can't even tell are BBLs.
Yeah.
Like, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's so exaggerated these days that it's like it's almost nasty. You know what I mean? Like it's almost nasty to even like.
You're being nice. It is nasty. I'll say it. It's very nasty, and people don't like seeing it. But I posted a picture one time of this man, right? And hold on one second. I'll be right back. And wait, I'm going to show you. Hold on. It was a man, right? It was a man. All right. And this is what his shoulder looked like, right? This is what his arm looked like, right? And his neck looked like this. So, and I asked people, I asked women specifically, good evening, sexy spirit. I asked people specifically, I said, women, you see how ridiculous that looks? This is the arm right here. And this is the shoulder right here. I said, women, and this is the neck. I said, women, you see how ridiculous that looks? Y'all say, oh no, that I would never date a person look like that. That's how you look with your BBLs when it's over exaggerated. You think it looks good, like that man might think, oh, I'm big, I'm super, but it looks ridiculous. And when we share with you that it looks ridiculous, you think we're hating. You think that we just can't handle you, or we just trying to make you feel bad. Nah, you didn't feel good in the first place. That's why you got the BBL. Let's be clear on that. You didn't feel good in the first place. And all I'm doing is reminding you, that's just like a woman with low self-esteem or a man who was a coward when he was younger. When he gets older and gets all these jobs and accolades and feel like the man, and somebody from his past come and say, man, you use that punk, blah, 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 blah. And now they feel in a certain kind of way. No, because you never had the courage in the first place. You disguised it with all of these things to make you feel and posture from a different position. The same way the lady who's getting the BBL didn't have the high self-esteem in the first place. So, yeah. Go.
So let's bring it full circle, right? We start over with Steve Harvey, his comments, right?
Right.
His hairpiece was the equivalent to a BBL.
Woo! Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Was the equivalent to that, which shows you that what other people think of him matters more to him than what he thinks of himself.
True.
You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. You cooking.
When you deal with stuff like that, can you be surprised that somebody's going to sit there and say that money is more important? No, you're not going to be surprised, because they're doing whatever it takes to get other people to appreciate them for what they do for them.
Yeah.
It's really that simple. It's another form of prostitution.
Absolutely. And I was speaking about that earlier today. We won't go in that direction. What I will do, I want to first say thank you for joining me. I really appreciate the conversation. Absolutely. Thank you all who came in. I see a couple of comments. I thank you all for coming in. We did see a video where Monique was challenging Steve about being more about integrity as opposed to the money game. It's the integrity game was her quote. And I was going to play another video. So what I'll do is I'm going to play it, but I'm not going to discuss it this week. I'm going to discuss it next week. But I'm going to play the video and you'll be able to hear it as well. It's a man and a lady, a young lady, who were they were on a dating show, and the man was sharing with her his scenarios. And I was going to go through it piece by piece because there were so many things that were valuable in discussing as far as the interaction that they had. But I'll let y'all be the judge of it. Listen to it over here. You'll be able to see it on my Facebook and Instagram pages, but I'm sorry, not Instagram, my Facebook and YouTube pages, but Buddha, you'll be able to hear it, and everybody over here on Instagram, you'll be able to hear it. So listen to it, and we're going to discuss it next week on Straight Talk. Anybody who want to join me, feel free to send me a DM, and we can discuss it directly live. So here it is.
Beautiful.
Just like I'm beautiful.
Yeah, but that's not why I would only like you.
So why would you like me? Because you didn't answer that.
Because you can bring something and add something to my life. But because you're a liability, you can't add anything to my life.
Right.
You would be a liability to everything in my life.
So what can I not add to your life? What is that?
You can't teach me anything. You can't help me with my finances in any way. You can't add any intellectual anything into my life. And it's not because you're not capable, it's just because you're not there yet.
Young.
You're not there yet.
Right.
And if you're not already on that path,
I'm already on it. That's the problem. You don't know enough about me.
You're absolutely right. I don't know enough about you. You said you have Airbnb
Good luck
properties.
with the other girls back there. You're messing up. Oh, next. Oh.
And I can tell that you're triggered, and that's okay.
I'm not triggered, sweetheart. You are very handsome.
We can work through this together.
You
Please
said I
put your
can't
hands
bring
down.
you anything, so it's like,
Right.
there's no need to talk.
You can't bring anything right
now. Good luck
now.
with the other girls.
Say, okay, and this is why your immaturity will prevent you from being with a real man.
No, I've dealt with real men
because you're not
before.
listening to me. You're trying to talk over
Go
me.
ahead, I'm listening.
Adults have conversations.
I'm listening.
Okay? So if we were to get together, you would be asking me questions like, Dr. Elam, what did you do to acquire everything that you acquired? What did you do to learn everything that you learned? What type of habits and skills do you have?
So that is the video. Of course, it was more extensive, but it was a young lady and a gentleman. He's a doctor. He has all of the attributes that most women enjoy or say they want, which is he's over six, he's about 6'4", he's a doctor, he has money, and he was sharing with this young lady. And a lot of the things that she did and a lot of her reactions are things that I wanted to discuss because a lot of times women take offense to hearing constructive criticism, and it then becomes destructive. If you look at constructive as destructive, then progress will never happen. He was very. Go ahead.
If you only choose to hear certain parts of a conversation, then that conversation need not happen anyway, because a lot of times people pick out what they're listening to, and sometimes they can't even hear what's going on or can't even listen to what's going on because they're too busy thinking about what they're going to rebut, how they're going to rebut to whatever's being said or whatever the last thing they heard was. You know what I mean? So you put yourself in a bad position when you don't listen to everything that's being said to be clear.
Absolutely. And that's like I said, that was part of what I was going to touch on. See, that we've been on like an hour and 10 minutes. I'm not going to touch on it this week, but I'm definitely going to come back to that next week because it's valuable. I might even try to find the extended version of it where he actually breaks down further what he's feeling and what he's seeing. And him being a doctor, I believe he's a doctor in psychology. He actually is seeing it from a standpoint of a professional standpoint, as well as a personal standpoint, because this is somebody that is a potential person that he can date, is why they're having this exchange in the first place. It's a dating show. So, we'll definitely go ahead.
I just want to say one last thing, because
Carla.
For Carla to enjoy, she said she understands and agrees to some degree, but not judge. Now, I don't want to say that, you know, people shouldn't do what they feel make them feel good. I'm just talking from my perspective. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it. I wouldn't want my wife to do that. I wouldn't want my sister to do that. I wouldn't want my daughter to do that. You understand what I'm saying? So, or my son, for that matter, to do that. I'm not going to say that it only extends to women. I wouldn't want anybody that I care about to do that because, one, to me, it doesn't look good. Two, there's a lot of health things that come with that you got. You put yourself in a position that you have to keep doing those things in order to keep that look, and you end up putting yourself backwards rather than forward. So that's the only thing. I'm not thinking anybody. I'm just talking about my personal feeling.
And I'll say this. I hear you, Carla. And my pushback to that is, why can't we judge? Where did it come into our vocabulary that we can't judge? As a matter of fact, this whole world is not country. This whole world is based on judgment. We actually have balance because of judgment. We actually can be able to evaluate good from bad because of judgment. And when people say to me, you shouldn't judge, it just dumbfounds me, because I'm like, how do we get through life without placing judgment? How do we learn without having a measure of what we learn? And that's what can be considered judgment. Now, to the point that you're making, it can be constructive, but the point is that when you don't want it at all, it becomes destructive. And I'm not sitting here judging you on a matter of what it is that I feel, or asking you to change what you feel. But I am putting that out as a different perspective. Whether you want to receive it or not, that's not on me. But I am sharing with you that, hey, judgment and opinion the same thing. Well, you're absolutely right, but we live on people's opinions and judgments every day. We have a judicial system. It's called judicial for the reason of the judgment. They have a judge there. And we tend to lean more on the fact that this person is judging fairly, often, not always, and that's unfair as well, because but the system of judgment is there, and we try to separate it to make ourselves feel better, in my opinion. And I sometimes think that I'm asking a question, not debating my friend. Oh no, Carla, I'm not taking it. Yeah, you're Carla. I love you. I'm just bringing it up. I'm actually sharing this because it becomes great dialogue between and exchanges, because there are 2 points of views on that. And I'm not taking it personally, and I'm glad that you're not taking it personally either. But what I'm sharing is that judgment is often something that we deny conveniently, because it makes us feel a certain kind of way that we're being judged. But the thing that I'm expressing and extending is that this whole world is based upon judging in constructive ways often. Of course, it's not always constructive, but most of the time it's designed to be able to grow us, to be able to grow whatever it is that's being judged, to be able to measure.
Judgment is necessary, like you said, because realistically, you can't go on a first date and not judge somebody based on what they have on, how they're treating you on that date. That's all judgment. Like, it has to be something that you want to even go on that date to begin with. It's a judgment. You know what I mean? So you're 100% correct. I'm just saying, like, I'm not telling people that have done these things that they should or should not do it. I'm just saying I don't know personally. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a fan of that. So, and my opinion is not to be my end all. You know what I mean? So there's people that probably don't like a lot of things about me.
Absolutely, and I feel the same way. And again, Carla, you know I love you. So no offense taken. I hope I didn't offend you. But yeah, I do feel that often I do hear that often as far as don't place judgment, when in fact, no matter what you look at, if you look at Bible, they always say Jesus didn't judge. Absolutely, he did. He did. He didn't those who he was questioning, the Pharisees that he was questioning, that was judging that they weren't doing the right thing and they weren't doing what his father created them to do. So in a way, it's judgment. So, I get confused sometimes on when thou shalt not judge is conveniently thrown out there, so to speak, from our biblical people, because that is a Bible quote and part of scripture. But there's so many other scriptures that are overlooked, while they're stating that. So, that's all I'm saying, Carla. But I do understand, and I don't want anybody's opinion or judgment to be destructive. Let me be clear on that. It's not meant to be destructive, but that's why trust comes in. Because the only time you usually think of something destructive or somebody's trying to insult you or hurt you is because you don't really trust that they're telling you something for one reason or another, or because it hurts your feelings. And because it hurts your feelings, now the person that you did trust, you're looking at side eye. And the question is to ask, is it because they were trying to hurt your feelings? Or is it that it was a sensitive topic that you actually usually is sensitive because like, for example, if you got a crooked tooth and somebody it's crooked and you sensitive when somebody brings it to your attention and say, well, maybe you should get braces. Well, I don't need braces because why?
I'll give you a good example. When I was little, man, I'm dark skinned, and back when I was little, it wasn't cool to be dark skinned. And my family's West Indian, Trinidad, so it wasn't even cool to be West Indian back then, especially in Brooklyn. Like, people were like, yo, you coconut this, that, banana bowl, and all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I had to come to a point where I just was comfortable with me, and so I didn't allow it to bother me. I didn't allow, you know what I mean? And like I said, it comes with a level of self-confidence and self-acknowledgement for you to be able to deal with those things. There's always going to be somebody that has something to say about it. Always.
True.
And if you choose to let those things bother you, then you might need to go and do some self-evaluating as to your own self-confidence and how you handle people, because people are always going to judge. People are always going to have something to say. You could do the best of everything, and there's going to be somebody that says, yeah, but they ain't do this, or but they ain't do that. It's like, that person probably ain't doing none of the stuff that you did, but they got something to say.
True that. And the funny thing is, I learned this from a little 2-year-old. I was around, now I've shared this story before. I was around a bunch of adults. We was in a room, and I picked up the 2-year-old, and the 2-year-old said, your breath stink. And I was so happy that she said it to me because it was the truth. It was in the morning. I picked her up, but I was so disappointed that all of the adults around didn't say a thing. Right. They're being politically correct. I don't know what it was that they called themselves doing, but I was really taken aback, like, yo, why did it take a 2-year-old to tell me go brush my teeth, basically? And I'm sitting there having the full conversations with y'all in a closed area, and nobody's saying nothing. I was so, but the point is that I could have taken it as an insult, but because it came from the 2-year-old, it's not insulting. But if one of those adults would have said it to me, then all of a sudden, oh, what you trying to say? I get defensive? It never made sense to me. But well, yeah, raise your Caribbean flag. Yes, Carla. But Carla and I went to school together from elementary in junior high, so we've known each other for quite some time, and always a pleasure to have her in the room. she comes in and joins and add comments. I was sharing with y'all that I know and love her. It has it, you know, no offense taken and no offense intended. And we have great conversations like this all the time. So thank you all who joined us. Buddha, again, salute, brother. Always a pleasure. And ladies, yes, sir. Ladies, I tell you, when I say this, I don't say it loosely. When I don't have a lot of men that I can value and say have integrity and be somebody who I would offer to, let's say, my daughter or sister or something like that if they were available. This gentleman is one of those men, and it has nothing to do with his accolades. I told y'all he is a well-renowned producer. He produced one of the songs that we all know, "Put Your Hands Where Your Eyes Can See," by Busta Rhymes with Shmello, God rest his soul, and many others. Nothing to do with that. I've been around him for years, and very directly as well as indirectly, and his character has always been straight and solid. And I admire that. You know, a married man. And again, we all have mistakes. Even that part of him is what I add to being perfection, because again, he admitting imperfections. To me, that is what perfection is. So this is a man, ladies, that I will stand 10 toes down on and say a good man if he was available. He's married, so I couldn't hook him up with nobody. And Spidey is another one that was the same way, that holds those same characteristics. And I've known Spidey my whole life, you know, since I was in pre-kindergarten till today. And his name is Ross, by the way. Ross Stone, for those who don't know Spidey. But I will say that these are two men that I admire their integrity, their character. That's what it is. I admire the character, and that, to me, character is the most valuable thing that I have a tendency to lean toward. Character embodies integrity, embodies honesty.
I'll say this last thing. One of the main reasons that I don't have a problem admitting or talking about my faults, because it allows me to remember. When you forget things completely, you know, you get to relive that, or recycle, or go into a cycle with it.
Absolutely.
And me acknowledging faults and stuff like that, I do that consciously to remind myself, like, you know, it's one day at a time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Don't do it again. Don't be, you know, don't be something that you're not. You know what I mean? And just be the best you could be. So, you know, it's part of my own self-evaluation. Like I said, I'm not perfect. I might say some things that make me sound like I think I'm perfect, but I totally know that I'm not perfect. And you know, I surround myself with brothers like yourself, like Spike, like J. Pro, like you know, like Shmello, God rest his soul, like Frank Lover. You know what I mean? Like, I surround myself with brothers like yourselves because y'all keep me grounded. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what somebody else thinks about me, y'all can slap me back. Straight up, shorty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, at the end of the day, man, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all for that, man.
And love you back as well. And I appreciate it as well. And I said that not to be a long-winded, you know, I guess it might sound like I'm really praising the guy because he's here, but no, he's this way. Whether, like he said earlier, it's not about being there when. What did you say when somebody's looking at you?
Integrity is doing the right thing, but nobody's looking.
There we go. And that's what I'm trying to share with y'all. I've noticed things that he did that displayed integrity when he didn't even know I could see him. And that's just a testimony to what he just said. Integrity is doing the things that you know you should do when nobody's looking. And I'll say that because it goes from our childhood. We know when we ain't supposed to do something. And if we feel like we could get in trouble for it, then we shouldn't be doing it. And that's just how simple it is. And that trouble can come from your spouse. That trouble can come from the public. That trouble can come from your children. Wherever you, if you feel that you're going to get backlash and you shouldn't do something because, and evaluating it from that standpoint, then that's something that you might want to possibly not do. Plain and simple. All right. Well, I see that the wife looks like she's coming in and letting you know time is up. So I appreciate you. Send my love to her. My love to you always. Thank you all for joining us. It's Straight Talk, Lisa Straight Understanding. Like, share. What's that other? Subscribe. And any of those other terminologies that I might have missed. Do all that, please. I appreciate it. See me next week. Thursday, we're going to be talking about this video that I just played on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. All right. Love and peace. Love you too, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you for joining me and doing it and supporting me doing it. Thank you.
Salute this man. People salute this man.
And salute to y'all right back. Thanks again. All right, bro. I'll talk to you in a minute. Peace.
All right, peace.
All right, y'all. As I said, I'm getting ready to get out of here. I hope y'all was able to hear me. Thank you for joining me, Ma. I love you. Thank you for joining me. And I hope y'all got something out of it. If you got something out of it, even one little word, share it with some people. Like I said, subscribe if you're on, what do you call that? On YouTube. Share it, like, and make comments. I couldn't see everybody's comment over here other than my mother. She said, we don't see what others see ever. And I understand that clearly. And that's why I said, see, I learned from the best. Look at that. So with that being said, thank you for joining me. I want to say continued blessings to you all. Keep up everything that we've been doing as far as spreading love and allow you to be a vessel, the Lord's willing way, whoever your Lord may be and however you recognize him. All right. Peace, unity, and love to you all. Oh, by the way, don't forget H2O. Get your H2O at a store near you. H2O at a store near you. Be safe. All right, peace. Doom 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 doom